All right, everyone, if you just bear with me here, I think at the very most, once every 4 years, you might get a non-wrestling video from me. And I think today is an appropriate day because I've seen a lot of sadness, not only in America, but on social media and from a large portion of our community and our fan base here on the channel. And I thought I would just kind of come up on a big wrestling day. NXT and AEW are going head to head probably as we speak by the time I upload this to YouTube, but I am taking a wrestling day off. I'm going to eyeball the shows, but no review or anything like that. And I thought I would just come up and offer a couple of quick comments on what we experienced in our country yesterday. Now, 24 hours ago, I was convinced that Donald Trump would get his absolute ass kicked in this election and he would be finished once and for all, leaving a Republican Party in complete shambles in his wake. The things that he has done to this party, their image, what they stand for. Literally, the exact opposite scenario happened. Not only did Donald Trump not get his ass kicked, he did the ass kicking, and he did something that I thought was impossible. I always thought it was possible that he could win the presidency through the Electoral College. I did not think there was any chance in hell that he would win the popular vote. Now, one thing that I think it's very important to do if you're on the side that loses an election is to not dress like a Viking and invade a government building, but to talk about what might have happened here. And I'm at a loss. I don't really know what happened here. All I know is we have a very, very confused country, because regardless of what you think of policy or these candidates or anything like that, at the end of the day, when the country chooses, they chose, the American people have spoken. And what they have told us is that they would prefer a disgraced, twice impeached, currently 34-time convicted felon with many more felonies pending, although those are probably going to disappear now. Not to mention the countless other amounts of scandals and bankruptcies and frauds that he has perpetrated on so many victims. He is looked at and viewed by his supporters as this patriotic Christian when he is anything but. It's almost as if the crazier and more vile and rancid he gets, the more support he seems to pick up. The two candidates had very vastly different messages. One is preaching unity and moving forward. The other is lashing out, talking about everybody who has wronged him, how he wants to use the military to shut people up who disagree with him, to punish news outlets, media outlets, TV stations. This is the party that never shuts up about free speech. And they are proudly, with a smile, supporting a man who says out loud in front of everybody that he wants to be a dictator. He admires Putin. He admires Kim Jong-un. He admires how they handle people because he is a narcissist. And that is fine. That's what we voted for. But it's really insane to me that the country would prefer that, because it's not like we don't know this guy very well. He's been around for years. We've had to suffer through 3 election cycles of this horrible person. I really think what it comes down to at the end of the day, because like I've said, regardless of what the outcome of this election was going to be, I said this a couple of weeks ago, my life, my personal life remains unaffected. And I hear that from a lot of voters. Well, I don't care about the election. My life's going to stay the same either way. That's a very, very selfish way to look at things, because my life isn't going to be affected much by a Donald Trump or a Kamala Harris presidency, but a lot of other lives will. And I didn't go into that voting booth to vote for me. I went and voted for the millions and millions of people that this administration is going to proudly fuck over. And the people, a good portion of the people who they are going to proudly fuck over, are the people that voted for them. People who voted for Donald Trump honestly don't know what they're voting for. It's kind of like a culture war. And I firmly believe that so many people that voted for Donald Trump were not voting for him because they felt like he was better for America, or he was going to make a better America. or his policies, because he doesn't have any policies. He has nothing. Whenever he's been asked about anything, he either, number one, doesn't understand how it works, like tariffs, or he has no plan, no policy at all when it comes to healthcare and whatnot. He is going to gut these systems. He is going to do a number on our government, and it is going to directly affect the people that went into the voting booth and voted for him. But the reason they voted for him isn't because they believe he's better for America. They voted for him because they view it as a win over liberals. And that is a huge problem when it starts turning into us against them. It's already like that. We've already seen these culture wars. You have people that will go into a voting booth to vote for Donald Trump because they're tired of seeing rainbows in Target. They might not want a trans athlete on their daughter's soccer team. These are the issues that are important to them. Their daughter might not make it to soccer practice because there's a very good chance she could get blown away at school in the afternoon. But that is not a priority. Protecting children in schools from gun violence is not even on the table for them. The threats that they perceive are imaginary threats. They're rainbows on beer cans, they're rainbows in clothing displays, and they are fixated on marginalizing people. They are fixated on hating specific groups of people, black, gays, minorities, whatever it is. They have targets on them. This is the party that wants there to be one vote per household. So the wife will vote, quote unquote, obey her husband and vote the same way. A couple of weeks ago, they were so terrified about the younger vote that they were suggesting implementing raising the voting age because kids are too stupid. Turns out the Republicans had that one right because Gen Z went for Trump. He outperformed in almost every category, which is really, really crazy considering how horrible he is. One of the arguments that I've been making prior to this election was that how in the world is this buffoon and this clown going to grow his base? His base seemed to be extremely narrow. Very one specific type of hateful asshole, or a very, very rich person that doesn't care how crazy he is as long as they get their tax breaks. And I honestly just did not think that that was going to be enough. I knew there was going to be a lot of supporters for him out there, but I just didn't see how it would be possible for a country to collectively watch these two candidates, you know, one of them just for the last 3 months, but the other one for the last 9 years, and come to the conclusion that this is the one you want with the nuclear codes. They're eating the dogs and cats worked, acting like a toddler, like a little boy, like a screaming infant worked. That is what the American people view as strength. And that's very alarming to me, that the right and Republicans and conservatives are so obsessed with masculinity. When this guy wears 4 pounds of fucking makeup, he makes excuses, no accountability, never stands up to anybody. He's spineless, he's weak, he's insecure, and he's all up his own ass. That is not the qualities of a masculine alpha male to me. Those are the qualities of a very, very weak, little, tiny man who needs to always have his praise cup filled, needs to be told how great he is. That is his lifeblood. He does not care about you. Everybody that went into the voting booth to vote for Trump, he doesn't care about you. And I legitimately feel bad for you because many of you realize this. How many conservatives have come forward recently in the last few years and just say, we were duped. This guy's a con man. So many people in his own party, so many people in his own cabinet have turned against him because he's so awful. I thought that would be enough. And so now you have to ask yourself, what was it? You know, when you list all these bad things, because when it comes to Kamala, what are we mad at here? She has a funny laugh. She may or may not have worked at McDonald's and she reads off a script. Okay, so that's a list about this big. Trump's list of horrible behavior is 2,000 miles long. And the fact that all of these things he has done, he has said, these crimes he's committed, these acts of sexual assaults on women that he's perpetrated, all of these terrible things that he has done, none of them Christian, none of them patriotic, are somehow a better choice than a qualified black woman. Now, I understand that she is an incumbent candidate, and generally those don't do well, especially if you have a president with a low approval rating. But my argument was that in any other universe, if this would have been a Mitt Romney or a John McCain or any other Republican, yeah, they might beat Kamala, and they definitely probably would have beaten Joe Biden. But I did not think that this man would be enough. And I was looking forward to us finally being rid of him once and for all, because as a liberal, as a Democrat, I mean this honestly, I want the old Republican Party back, because I might not have liked Mitt Romney. I might not have liked John McCain. I voted against them. But one thing I will say about them is that they are great American men. They truly, at the end of the day, want what's best for the country, where Donald Trump wants what's best for him. He does not care about you, never has. The proof is right in front of you. It's not like I'm suggesting this and you can choose to believe it or not. He has said it. It has come out of his mouth. He's made it painfully picture perfect clear that you are the last thing he gives a shit about. He's out for retribution and revenge and everything that this country should not stand for. But that's who we voted for. That's why I'm accepting of this election. In 2016, I was completely floored by this, and this year is no different, but I'm taking a different approach this time. You know, I had faith in my country. I believed that there is no way America, for all of our problems, for all of our division, for all of our issues, and we've got a lot, that there is no way we could be this stupid. I will never make that mistake again. I will never make the mistake of believing in my country, because it's not like I was believing in them to do something incredible and produce some sort of a miracle upset win for Kamala. You know, I always felt that was going to be the right thing to do. As a matter of fact, after she won, depending on what the score was going to be, I was prepared to lecture America that even though she won, we should be ashamed of ourselves for letting it get this far, for letting this man get this close to the White House, not once, but twice. So I was assuming a loss, Trump would be gone, Republicans would have some work to do in terms of cleaning up their party and cleaning up their image that is now so strongly focused on hate and oppression and suppression and all that stuff. And that just seems what they want to do. This dictatorship that seems to be on the horizon now, and this Project 2025 stuff, these are all black eyes on that party. These are things that a lot of Republicans don't want to be associated with, and now they are. And so I thought with Trump gone, it would take some time, but they would clean things up and eventually find a candidate more like a Romney, or more somebody that's a little bit more, number one, normal, and number two, a little bit more less, extreme, because that's one thing about not all conservatives, but Trump for sure. Every accusation is a confession. Voter fraud, the only ones that got caught doing any sort of voter fraud was them. That was the only evidence came from their side. Voter suppression, same thing. All of this Jeffrey Epstein stuff, everybody's so interested in his island, while there are just hours upon hours of tapes and footage and audio of Trump and his BFF Epstein. That is okay. They are obsessed with conspiracies and nonsense. And every time they spew out some outlandish conspiracy about the left, it's stuff that they are actually doing. Calling the other side pedophiles while they are the pedophiles. Calling the other side cheaters while they cheat. It's been their game plan. It's been their whole identity. I just thought America was smarter than that. I thought we could see through bullshit a little bit easy. Because if you can listen to Donald Trump speak and you don't think all of that is complete fucking horseshit, I can't even debate you. We can't even have this conversation. You can't be touched. Because when you flat out believe anything and everything that comes out of somebody's mouth, you can't argue with that level of logic. And I think it's gotten lost in politics over the years, especially with Trump, that this belief that you have to adopt and believe everything that this candidate stands for. And that is a really dangerous way to live, because I wasn't a fan of Joe Biden, and I definitely would have pressed Harris on issues too had she won. I would want to see things from her. I wasn't just going to accept her presidency and everything she brings with it. Yes, whatever you want, Miss Harris, let us have it. No, I want her to be doing certain things and doing things as president that she was promising to do. And nothing he ever promised in 2016 he ever did, and that's not going to be any different here in 2024. If anything, it's going to be even crazier, because unless he really plans on shredding the Constitution and perhaps even removing term limits, I don't think it's going to get that far. But if he were to do that, obviously he could run again, but this will be his last 4 years. And so now what is the incentive for him to make our country great? Do you think he gives a shit about the next Republican nominee that's going to come succeed him? No. He's going to be worried that that person doesn't do better than him. You know, he's the type of person that will put down, insult, and suppress people in his own party if it means making himself look or feel better. He's a complete narcissist in every sense of the word, and it's disappointing that we have to deal with this person again for another 4 years. Now, if you're a Trump supporter, great. I'm happy for you today. I'm happy that you can go around and troll people. You know, the Trump supporters, by the way, I've seen them all day online, dropping the N-word like it's nothing, calling gay people faggots, put your tampon back in, all that stuff. You know, these Christian and these Christians and patriots, you know, this is what they say. The Christians and the patriots are the ones that you heard the racial slurs from today. And every other sort of nasty racial or sexual slur or hate speech, it was flying out of their mouths today with pride. And therein lies the problem, I think, is that I have always been talking about how horrible Trump is, what a absolute monster he is, what a hateful human being he is, and what an absolute piece of shit he is. He has a soul comprised of complete dog shit, and they love it. That's the problem. They don't care. They like that. They like the hate, because in their minds, a win over liberals is the only thing that matters. Of course, they mask that and wrap that in the flag and act like they're doing, you know, they're being patriots and they want what's best for America. They don't. They don't. They are so excited to stick it to the liberals today. Now, full disclosure, I would have been, you know, I saved my receipts too. I would have probably been a little bit petty today on social media had Harris won, but I certainly wouldn't be directing any hate speech, calling people N-words or faggots or anything like that, because that is the sign of a weak, pathetic man. And there are a lot of those in this country, and that's why they are so outward with their hate. I would never deck myself from head to toe in Joe Biden or Kamala Harris merchandise. That's idiotic. We don't do that over here, you know, but when you start putting people up on pedestals to the point where you're worshiping them, you're not going to be able to hold your president accountable for anything. And mark my words, you're going to be hearing, you're going to be hearing us say, this is what you voted for a lot over the next 4 years, because people that voted for him are going to realize that his policies do not benefit them at all. The only way a Trump presidency benefits them is it gives them the leverage to troll liberals online. I don't think that's a very good reason to vote for someone. And on top of that, they never shut up about Biden, with this cognitive decline crap. Look at him. Look at Trump. He's already a blithering lunatic. How do you think that's going to progress over the next 4 years? What do you think he's going to be like when he's 82? So for all that crap they were saying about Joe Biden, it's Trump that has all that now. And again, all you have to do is listen to him speak. He's a delusional, rambling mess. He's not doing brilliant weaves. He's being laughed at. Everybody laughs at him. And he won. And I think it's because he is the ultimate enemy of liberals. And that was strong enough. He hates who they hate. And his policies and who he is as a person doesn't matter. I think conservatives, because we are in the middle of a culture war here in America, I think they saw how much liberals despise this man, and that was their ammunition and their motivation to vote for him. What he stood for, what he does, and how he conducts himself as president does not matter to them. It can't, because he's a felon. He's a criminal. He's been found liable for sexual assault. He grabs pussies. He's BFFs with Jeffrey Epstein. He's stolen from charities. He's filed for bankruptcy up teen times. He just believe it or not, he just had his first victory of his life. Because in 2016, he fell ass backwards into that, lost the popular vote. If the Republicans would have lost the popular vote or won the popular vote and a Democrat won the presidency, they would have never shut up about abolishing the Electoral College. So he fell ass backwards into it in 2016 and then bragged about it like it was a landslide win. And then he lost again in 2020. This time he won. He legitimately won this election. He won the Electoral College and the popular vote, and he won it fair and square. Fair and square. I know there's some talk about, oh, there's might be some recount issues in Philly. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He overperformed. You know, he won this election. And like I said earlier, I was prepared to lecture everyone after Kamala won that it shouldn't have been allowed to get this far. He shouldn't have been able to get the amount of votes that he got. Not only did he get those, he got more and he won. So I'm not going to be the type of person that's not going to accept the election. I'm not stupid enough to believe that it must have been stolen if my guy didn't win, because I'm more mature than that. What I want to do is look at what went wrong here. And you can point out stuff about Harris. You can point out policy stuff. All of those arguments about her would be valid arguments in any other election. You put any other Republican up against Harris, I mean, Nikki Haley or whoever, and I will listen to these. I will listen to both candidates during their debate. I'm still going to vote Democrat, but I will give my ear to a Republican. I would like to see the Republican and Democratic candidate meet in the middle on the debate stage and shake hands and smile. Maybe share a few jokes during the debate. You know, those are the days that I thought we were on the cusp of getting back to. And now, unfortunately, it's just going to be, he's going to turn the GOP even nastier. And it's just a shame, because I was kind of looking forward to getting back to a sense of normalcy in the country, because I remember a lot of elections. I remember a lot of debates, and I remember the energy and the relationship between the two candidates. Even though they were, you know, vastly opposed on so many issues, there was respect. There was always that respect. And what we saw in 2020 was the opposite of that. The pathetic toddler refused to leave, riled up his cult, and they tried to stage a coup. Violent attack on the Capitol. People lost their lives. And the fact that America was cool with that. Yeah, let's bring him back. And as you saw, Harris conceded. She ensured a peaceful transfer of power. I'm not here yelling and screaming like it was stolen. I'm not delusional. We know, we accept reality. Can't say so much for the other side. So obviously, I've lost a lot of faith in America. And next time I tell myself I'm going to believe in my country, I'm not. I'm not. Because how can you at this point? So at the end of the day, I'm fine. Like I said earlier, I'm not really worried too much about me. I'm worried about the millions of people that this is adversely going to affect. And I think about my niece. I think about my best friend's daughters. I think about, you know, women I work with, friends of mine, so many gays and lesbians and minorities and Latinos that I work with, know, are friends with, and love. It's them that I think about here kind of in the long run, because they're the ones that I think are going to be affected most, especially women and their reproductive rights. All we can do now is just sit in disbelief and wonder what the hell to do next. But here's what we're going to do next. The channel keeps going. I still love my job. At the end of the day, I live in a great city. I have a great job, money in the bank. I love talking to y'all. I got a great woman. Things are fine in Gregland. But I have a lot of pain in my heart. And I have a lot of sadness in my heart for so many people that are going to be royally, and I mean royally, effed over by this administration. And he's going to do 50 years worth of damage to this country. And that's what I feel bad about. So anyway, I just wanted to come up and say that, since I know a lot of you are probably wondering where my head was at today. I feel like I'm in a better headspace than most. I've been actually kind of worried about some people, seeing some of the reactions online. You know, obviously there's a lot of anger and stuff, but I've seen a lot of, you know, a lot of troubling messages, people feeling like not only have they lost hope in the country, but they might have just lost hope in life and stuff like that. And politics is never going to be that big. Don't let it dominate your life. I got up, I went and ran errands today. Life moves on. Drove around town with my windows down, smelled the fresh air. It was fine. Don't let this defeat you. I feel like now with a lot of young people in society today that, mental health is a big issue. I'm lucky enough to where my brain has always just been able to handle a difficult situation head on, but that's not everybody. And if you are struggling with things, if you're feeling hopeless, if you're feeling bleak, or if you are falling into some sort of a deep state of depression, just know that this is not the end. Yes, this is gonna be bad, but it's not the end. We still have lives to live. So get up and go live your life, because that's all we can do. Show them how you're supposed to handle a loss. Like I said, we're not going to dress up in Viking outfits and storm the Capitol with a fucking fur hat and painted faces. No, we're going to be normal, and we're not going to be weird. And if you are happy about this, then feel free to gloat in the comments. But if you say anything shitty, your comment's going to be removed. And if you are, in the same boat as me, just know that I feel your pain and I feel for you, and feel free to share your, your thoughts of worry in the comments below, especially if you have daughters or children or anything like that is now going to have to deal with the after effects of this administration for a good portion of their lives. That's who I think about today. I think about them. I think about you guys and all of that. So anyway, we're going to be back here soon. We got the podcast on Saturday, so we'll be back here to start catching back up on wrestling news. And like I said, probably around the time that this video is uploaded, there's an NXT and AEW head-to-head matchup, which I will be keeping an eye on, but I just didn't have the energy, so to speak, to do a watch along for that. And I hope that you guys can understand that. But anyway, thank you for listening. I'm sorry that this was not a wrestling topic, but it's kind of hard to not talk about something like this, especially when I've been pretty vocal about where I stand on these issues on social media. So I appreciate you taking the time to listen to this, and I wish you all the very best. Peace.